Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 4 of Old Man Magic, where your hosts Alex and Steve discuss current events in Magic the Gathering and learn about the cards that were printed while we were not paying attention to the game for 20 years. How you doing, Alex?
Great. How are you, Steve?
Not bad. How was your dinner last night? The people want to know.
The it was fine. We didn't get to go to the place we wanted to because it was super busy.
Okay.
So we went somewhere else.
What were the dishes? I was going to ask you what the dishes were, and I was going to ask you to rate them on a scale of
It was kind of
5
disappointing.
stars.
We went to like an okay Mexican place instead.
Doesn't sound great. So there was lots of news this week. We didn't have. I don't know why I just put food into my mouth.
I was wondering the same thing.
Starting off the show by opening up, by unwrapping candies and then shoving food into my mouth. That's wonderful. Wonderful mic etiquette. But I was going to say there was lots of news this week. We didn't really have news last week, but apparently this is preview season for Magic the Gathering. There was like an hour-long show with some lady hosting it who I've seen on Snapchat. So I was aware of this person. I think she used to work for like G4 or something, that station that talks about video games and stuff. I caught a little bit of the stream when I was watching Jake and Joel Are Magic. I saw her hosting it. They were talking about all the sets that are going to be released, I think, up through 2023. So I don't know if you saw that, but there were a few things that jumped out to me.
Go ahead.
I'll talk about the first one. The first one was Frodo will be a Magic card. So they have this series that they're doing. I don't know I can't remember what the name of this series is, but
is a couple layer.
I don't remember, but they're like a crossover printings.
Yeah,
where last week or the week before you talked about the Street Fighter cards.
Yeah, correct.
They're doing a whole Lord of the Rings set and a Doctor Who set. So those were the big reveals during this.
I think I had heard about the Lord of the Rings, but not the Doctor Who.
Yeah, during this hour-long event. And I saw them and I was like, well, I didn't know if it was just because I'm a grumpy old man or if other people feel this way too, but I was like, why? That was my question when I saw this. Why?
Yeah.
I love Lord of the Rings. I love Magic the Gathering. I love Street Fighter. I don't necessarily love these things together, and I don't know who does. I'm not a business person. I'm not the CEO of Hasbro. I'm not running this company. I'm assuming they're doing it because they think these crossovers will bring new people to the game, but I do really wonder, like, to what extent they do. Who sees, Magic or Lord of the Rings Magic the Gathering cards and then from there gets into Magic the Gathering?
Yeah,
I wonder to what extent it actually has that effect.
Some people collect anything Lord of the Rings, so they'll buy one of these and put it on their shelf maybe.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
I think some people, who play Magic and like Lord of the Rings will then also buy one. So it's a way to get, current players to spring for another $50, thing. But I'm kind of with you. Like, that for some reason the Street Fighter one I thought was kind of cool, but Lord of the Rings to me, it's like it's kind of too similar. Like, I like that they're separate. Like, it's, they're both fantasy things, but they're kind of like they're their own universes.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. They're their own worlds. They don't need each other, and when they cross over, it's just a little bit strange.
Yeah.
So
I guess when the crossover like doesn't make sense as much, like when it's more stark, then I'm like more okay with it because it's kind of like, oh, this is just like a one-off kind of, not a joke, but you know what I mean? It's like I'm taking it less seriously. It's just sort of like a novelty. But when it's like Lord of the Rings, it's kind of like now it's like combining things that are already pretty similar.
Yeah. And it's not going to, I mean, it sort of cheapens both Magic the Gathering and Lord of the Rings. Like, this crossover, and it's not going to be as good as any one of these things individually.
Correct. Yeah.
And
it's already on so much shit. Like, you can get like a mug with it on it, and you know what I mean. Like, what? Yeah. I don't know. Why do you need Magic cards with Lord of the Rings on them?
I don't know. I don't think anybody needs them. And I saw a video from the Tularian Community College professor guy. Apparently he's a huge Doctor Who fan, so he made a video about the Doctor Who crossover. And he kind of said the same thing, and that made me feel good. It made me feel like I'm not just a crotchety old man, because he tries to be positive about everything. He's not a negative person at all.
Yeah.
But he just wasn't into it. I don't know. So that was one thing that popped out. Another, let's talk a little bit about Dominaria United. So don't know a whole lot about this set, but I like the Legends flavor. I like the Legends retold because I'm a huge fan of Legends. This is probably
what is the retold part of it?
This is
I didn't see it on the.
I'm going to try to pull up some stuff right now. The retold part of it is essentially the reprinting of a bunch of the lesser known, lesser appreciated legendary creatures. And they're giving them essentially better powers, better abilities, and making them more playable and printing them in Dominaria United.
Okay, is this like the Solkanar?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So there's like a new Solkanar. There's a new Jasmine Boreal. There's a new bunch of people. There's a new Rogan or Rogan of Carekeep. However you pronounce that name. I'm trying to find. I'm going to share my screen. Here we go.
Here we go.
What do you see right now, Alex? Do you see my screen?
Yeah, now I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen most of these yet, but I saw Soul Tainted.
So I'm trying to look around. This is about the Dominaria set in general. This is where I saw, so Dominaria United is the 93rd Magic expansion. And that's when I was like, oh my God, we've missed 80 to 90 Magic expansions. So we're actually not familiar with probably most of the cards that were ever printed.
Yeah. We've missed most of it.
Storyline. They're returning to Dominaria, meeting some familiar heroes and villains. Karn is making a comeback. I saw some people talking about the Karn reprint. It seemed kind of weak. But I can't find, I'm looking for the actual cards. The actual reprint cards. What their abilities are. Lost Legends. No, the Lost Legends was the were the booster boxes or the boxes that they found in the warehouse, supposedly.
Yeah. If you go down farther in like the cycle section, it's like a tricolor legend segment, and that has a few of them, but it doesn't have all of them. I don't think they've finished editing this page yet because it's so new.
Okay, I swear I saw them on this page, and I was trying to look back on them. So here are some of them, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Johira, is this a reprint? I wasn't familiar with this.
Yeah, that was a card. Johira.
Here we go. These are some that, these are. So Solkanar the Tainted. 2 colorless, a blue, a black, a red. 5/5. Beginning of your end step, choose one that hasn't been chosen. So pretty much you play this person, you draw a card. Steal 2 life from your opponent. Deal 3 damage to another target creature or planeswalker. I missed this last one. Exile, then return it to the battlefield under opponent's control. So that's not so great. I guess that's why he's tainted. Fourth round after he's played, I guess your opponent gets Solkanar. Zur.
Yeah, although you can also, there's obviously some some ways where you can play around that or use that mechanic to something sneaky. But anyways, yeah.
Zur, I remember Zur's weirding from Ice Age. So Zur was a character in Ice Age, but I don't know if Zur has been like a recurring character in any of the sets between Ice Age and now. But Zur, they're reprinting him as a legendary creature, human wizard, 1/4 flying.
Okay, there's a Tetsuo.
Oh yeah, I saw the Tetsuo. Where's the Tetsuo?
I'm looking on a different page that just says this. Whenever he attacks, says if it's equipped. Oh geez, now I'm confused already. I don't even know how this works.
You're probably on a better page because this is what I was looking for. I was looking for like the Tetsuo print, the Jasmine print. There were a couple others.
Okay, I see. So when he attacks, it says if it's equipped. I think that means if he has equipment on him, right? He deals damage equal to the highest mana value among equipment attached to it to any target. So the highest mana value equipment you have on him, he deals that much damage to a target. When you cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to the same thing, without paying its mana cost. So that's pretty sweet in an enchantment deck. I mean, and I say enchantment because that's how I think about it, but an equipment deck, sorry. Combos with equipment. I'm so old.
I found exactly what I was looking for earlier. It was on this page. I was just skipping right past it. So they have a bunch of others.
Yeah, Rasputin.
Rasputin, the One-Amancer.
Neuromancer? I don't know.
What is an Neuromancer? One Neuromancer. I'm not familiar. One colorless, one white, one blue, 4/1 legendary creature, human wizard, not a wizard.
I've played a game where sorry, go ahead.
Enters the battlefield, put a dream counter for each opponent you have. Each opponent creates a 1-run red goblin. Tap to remove one or more dream counters from Rasputin. Add colorless mana. Tap, remove a dream counter from Rasputin. Create a 2/2 white knight creature token with protection from red. There's a lot of shit going on in all these cards, man.
I think it's like a dream wizard kind of deal. There's a game I play where there's a Neuromancer who does divinations through sleeping and dreaming.
Okay.
And so you get dream counters, so that makes sense.
That was the Rasputin reprint. Rogon, because everybody loves kobolds. We need to bring back the kobolds. Rogon Carekeep Overlord. 3 colorless, 1 black, 1 red, 4/4. All kobolds you control get +2/+2 again because everybody's running the kobolds. Everybody's running the kobold decks. I wonder how many kobolds have been printed between Legends and now.
Good question.
Maybe 0. I don't know. I'm not the best person to speak on that, but whenever you cast a kobold spell, you may pay 2 colorless. If you do, create a 4/4 red dragon creature token with flying. Okay, so this is going to bring back the kobolds. Now would be a time for us to buy up all the cheap kobolds.
I noticed there was a spike in a kobold card.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
I almost bought a Rogon of Carekeep when I was buying these legendary dragons because the art is awesome. And that was not very expensive because I'm sure nobody plays them.
Oh yeah, Kobold Drill Sergeant went up since last week.
Don't tell me what Rogon did because I'll just be upset. Unless it went down.
I don't see anything about him. It's Rogar.
Oh, that's right. I don't know why I'm putting an N there. This guy also has some synergy with dragons. Whenever you cast a dragon spell, create a 0/1 red kobold creature token named Kobolds of Carekeep.
Oh. I like how that works because in like D&D, like it's some of those old D&D modules, there's like, like a dragon mountain that has like kobolds in the lower levels and stuff that kind of like cohabitate. Dragon uses them as like guardians.
There's a Stang, so now I have another creature for my Stang deck.
Oh, new Stang.
2 colorless, red, green, 3/4. Whenever Stang Echo Warrior attacks, create Stang Twin, a legendary 3/4 red and green human warrior creature token. Enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. For each aura and equipment attached to Stang, create a token that's a copy of it attached to Stang Twin. Sacrifice all tokens created this way at the beginning of the next end step. So basically, every time you attack with him, he summons a twin who also does the same thing that he's doing, and then the twin disappears. That's what it sounds like to me. Don't know if this is better than the old Stang. Equal to the old Stang.
Not a whole lot different.
Yeah. They're bringing back Hazezon Tamar, or whoever it is that you pronounce.
Oh, there's a lot of them.
Hazezon Tamar. Shaper of Sand. Or, no, the new Hazezon is Hazezon Shaper of Sand. A red, a green, and a white 3/3 Desert Walk. Everybody loves Desert Walk. You may play desert lands from your graveyard.
Bringing back the deserts.
Yeah. Whenever a desert enters the battlefield under your control, create 2 1/1 red, green, and white sand warrior creature tokens. So somebody who's been buying out all the deserts for the past 20 years is fucking hyped about this guy. Yeah. And you know there are like 3 people out there that have a few thousand deserts.
Look at desert. Desert. Arabian Nights, time shifted from the Vault Realms, Commander Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, and a promo card. Arabian Nights version.
What are deserts running these days?
$14, $15, Ooh. $17, or a few of them. There's only a few.
Well, so a Hazezon deck is still within my reach if I wanted to build it.
Yeah. And more importantly, someone is going to start buying up deserts. It's only a matter of time, right? Like someone's going to be like, "Oh, I got to buy deserts."
Yeah. So they're going to do it just like that, and then they're going to make a Reddit post.
Pour ketchup all over them.
Yeah. Ramirez De Pietro, Pillager. 2 colorless, 1 blue, 1 black, 4/3. When De Pietro Pillager enters the battlefield, you lose 2 life and create 2 treasure tokens. Whenever 1 or more pirates you control deal combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that player's library. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. So, I like the Legends Revisited. Creatures are pretty cool. Nothing too overpowered, but they're all fun. Legends was always a fun set for me. I agree. I always enjoyed the creatures. People complain about how the set is mostly unplayable, but I don't care. That's not really what it's about for me. It was about all the badass creatures that I saw when I was 13 years old.
You know, there were fewer options, and
Yeah. I always thought it was a cool set. It's probably my favorite. It's ridiculous. It's too big. There's a lot of cards in it that probably shouldn't be in it. Should have never been printed, but
yeah,
that's kind of what makes it fun. It's a ridiculous, over the top set. So another thing that came up.
Yes.
Dominaria United. There's also Dominaria Remastered.
Okay.
They were reprinting, just not reimaginings of cards, but straight up reprintings.
Right.
And since we've been talking about Magic again for the last couple months, you've been calling me every week and saying, "Now, Steve, you got to buy up as many Enchant Worlds as you can. Just buy up all the Enchant Worlds. This is our ticket. This is
something like that.
This is our pathway to riches beyond our wildest imagination."
Some version of that.
You heard somebody say, Mark Rosewater, maybe. They're never going to reprint any Enchant Worlds. It's a horrible mechanic. It's difficult to work around. If there's an Enchant World that's not on the reserve list, you might as well just consider it reserve list. It's never going to be reprinted.
Which led me foolishly last week, just a week ago, to say something to almost that exact tune about Arboria.
I gathered my entire life savings. I took that $17 that I've been working to build up for 40 years, and I put it into this card right here, this card right before you, because of what you told me over the past 2 months. And then what do I see pop up? What pops up in the screen?
the timing on that was so bad that people are literally going to think that I was like trying to unload my $17 Arborias online.
It's a good thing nobody listens to the show
yes,
yet.
Yes,
It's a good thing.
Livid at me.
We would be. I was, I make jokes about pumping and dumping. People would be attacking us for our pump and dump right now.
Yeah.
They'd say we knew what was coming with this Arboria. We talked it up.
When did they announce this? They didn't announce that before I said that, did they? I don't think they did.
It was after.
Really bad timing.
I don't know if it was on like Tuesday or Wednesday. It might have been Monday or Tuesday probably. Because I think our last episode was posted on Wednesday. And I think I watched this stream before then. But Arboria is a reprint. Force of Will is a reprint.
Yep, Force of Will.
They're also reprinting 6 of the 10 Pain Lands.
I saw the Pain Lands
which is interesting. I also thought that was pretty exciting. It sounds like people
in United or the other one, because I think it might, unless I'm wrong, I think they're in United.
Oh, maybe they are.
Yeah. They're in 6 of them are in United, and the other 4 will be in the Brothers War.
Okay, yeah, that's people were saying why 6, and then I heard other people were commenting that just wait, they're likely going to be out in the very next set.
Yeah. So anyways, go back to the ones that they're reprinting so far. Do you have the list of those?
Yeah. Okay. Can you see my screen? I got them pulling up right now.
Oh, great.
Adakar Wastes.
Oh no, I meant the Dominaria Revisited reprints.
Oh, those I don't have pulled up. Let me pull something up. I didn't see everything they were reprinting. Oh, I'm looking.
Because I saw it so far were Force of Will and Arboria, and I don't know how many cards they have announced so far because it was just the other day.
That's what I saw too, but I'm looking at I'm looking at a list of reprinted cards right here, and it doesn't list Arboria or Force of Will because those are Dominaria Remastered, but the reprints of Dominaria United. Valduvian Horde. So this is going to cause the price to spike. All the youngins are going to see this. They're going to be like, oh my God, look at this 5/5er for 2 colorless, 2 red. And the 4 Valduvian Hordes that I bought a month ago for 50 cents each are going to triple in price to 150. And I'm going to be rich. And then the people who bought them will quickly realize they're terrible after playing with them for a couple weeks, and then the price will drop again. They're reprinting Dragon Whelp and Dominaria United. Liliana the Veil. People were very excited about this creature. I'm unfamiliar with Liliana.
Yeah, I understand that it's famous.
Yeah. And then the 6 Pain Lands, Adakar Wastes,
obviously.
Caves of Kolios, Carplucen Forest, Siobhan Reef, Sulphurous Springs, Yavimaya Coast. I've almost completed. So I've been buying real estate lately because I want to get back to where I can actually build some decks, and you need lands to build decks. I want to build pre-modern decks, so I don't need dual lands for those. They're not playable. What I do need are Pain Lands, so I've been trying to build my sets of Pain Lands.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting pretty close to play sets of the Pain Lands. And I wonder if the reprints will drop the prices.
I don't expect that to happen. After what just happened with or didn't happen with Reflecting Pool, and we've seen several other lands that are these are such core lands to people's decks. Even people that already have them, they just want duplicates so they don't have to
disassemble decks. Yeah.
So they're pretty. I don't know. There's still a lot of demand for them. I don't think the old one will change much. If you do see them dip, I'll throw out some more financial advice. If we do see them dip soon or after this announcement, I'd probably buy them if they go down a few dollars.
This is our terrible financial advice from Alex segment.
But I'm going to do that if I see them for a couple bucks down. I will buy them now. By the way, I want to comment. I love the art on the new Sulphurous Springs.
This was the most interesting one, although I still don't love it as much as the original.
But it's so funny.
But it's interesting.
Because it's the old guy who was
dead
in it,
now.
That little demon dude, but now he's dead because he stayed in the Sulphurous Springs too long. And I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, I appreciated the callback. I think others did too. The only thing I don't like about it, again, not to trash the new artist or anything, but there's just not as much detail in it. If you if you look at the old Sulphurous Springs, and this is true with a lot of the cards, there's just not as much detail. Just the new styles. I don't know if this is digital. This looks like it might be digital. I can't even tell. This one might not be digital. But yeah, like the work around the spring itself, it just looks half done, like half completed to me.
I don't mind it because it reminds me of like that Tolkien artist I was telling you about before, and it's kind of like it looks like painted a little bit, and like I don't know, it just kind of reminds me of some of the work from that guy that I have. But I see what you mean, and I definitely don't like how it looks with the new border.
That could always be throwing me off. You know, you put this art on an old border, and I might have different feelings about it. Well, it's probably true for like most of the cards that I look at. But anyways, I just wanted to say you screwed me with your financial advice about Arboria.
I'm sorry, everyone, about the Arboria advice. I mean, talk about timing. Wow.
What other enchant?
I'm surprised. I really can't believe they brought Enchant Worlds back. Going back, do we know how Dominaria Remastered will factor into like legality and like current set legality? Is this going to be some sort of like specialty set that won't be legal to play? I don't think that would be the case. That doesn't seem.
Oh, I have no idea, but yeah, I don't think so. I think it would be legal. I mean, they're reprinting some. I was going to say staples, and not that Arboria is a staple, but Force of Will. I don't know why they would ever be reprinting Force of Will in a set that wasn't going to be tournament legal. One of the new Force of Wills too. So I talk about the old art, but like this foil, this borderless, I'm assuming it's going to be a foil. This is fucking badass.
I'm sorry, the one on the left? You like that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It reminds me of Mirage artwork or Alliance's artwork a little bit.
It's funny you say that because Richard Kane Ferguson.
Oh.
I remember a lot of his stuff from Mirage. I think.
Who's the old Force of Will artist?
Nielsen.
Oh, okay.
Who I don't want to slander anybody. So I could be wrong about this, but this might be the person who one of the people who Wizards has dissociated themselves from.
Oh, okay.
She might be QAnon. She might be the QAnon person. And I really do like the original Force of Will artwork, but like this one gives it a run for its money, especially, and I'm anti-foil also, but I can imagine this foiled out blinging.
Yeah, it wouldn't change the colors of it too much. It would still just make
it would just make it pop. Anyways,
I read something that said, I don't know if this is true or not, but it said that Force of Will was originally like designed as a red card, which is sort of like why it has that artwork and sort of the whole idea, I don't know, of it. Maybe it didn't say remove a blue card in your hand at that point in its development, but yeah, they said it was in the very early stages conceived of as a red card.
I can see that. They were thinking of a way to give red some of the blue ability, but give it a downside so it wasn't quite as strong as blue, but then they accidentally made like a super powerful counterspell.
This thing I'm reading here is comparing Dominaria Remastered. They're saying it's limited print run, so it might be more akin to a Masters set. It says that it's a draft set and collector boosters. Are we okay? I don't know. That doesn't tell me much. I'm confused.
I like the borderless rework of Arboria too.
Yes, I like that. I like both the new arts.
Trapped in a web of carnivorous plants.
Yeah. I like there's a version of the one on the right there, but it has an old style border. And that one looks pretty good.
This one right here.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. It actually made me, I sat around and thought about Arboria for a little bit the other day. And I was like, yeah, it would be fun to make like an Arboria control deck. And apparently they exist. I looked them up a little bit.
Definitely, yeah.
There were some people who ran like 4 Arborias and some other things to shut down their opponents' activities and attempted to then kill their opponents with either Black Vices and Underworld Dreams and Howling Mines, or I can't remember some of the other combos. But, you know, kind of take any sort of stasis type deck, any sort of Winter Orb type deck where you're locking down your opponents, try to lock them down with Arboria instead, and, you know, kill them with artifacts, kill them with millstones, stuff like that. It just made me think like, well, first I was like, oh, I want to build an Arboria deck. I can still buy the original legendary Arborias for, you know, not an outrageous price. But then again, the same issue came up, which is what format am I ever going to play this in? I don't necessarily need to worry about formats because I don't fucking play in tournaments, but I still think about this. Like, what format am I going to play this? I don't know why I think about it so much. But really, you know, if you wanted to play, it would really only be a viable deck type in an old school format, and I don't have the money for Power 9, so never going to happen. Anyways, that's the Dominaria news. That was pretty much all my current event news for the week. Dominaria United, Legendary reprints, Arboria reprinted. Say hello to my Enchant Worlds again.
I was the Enchant World thing is still kind of blowing my mind, because especially since I don't know, not that I'm gonna hold them to everything they've ever said, but they did make it sound like it was not, you know, a mechanic they wanted to continue.
These people can't be trusted.
I noticed, apply this lesson to the reserve list. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I noticed also that they changed what they call it. It is now a world enchantment instead of an enchant world.
I did see that too. That's for legal reasons.
My dog is making a howling ruckus, so I think we have to take a pause for a minute.
Okay.
Sorry.
We're not going to pause. I'm going to let it run.
Okay.
I know how to edit.
I'm going to take her outside, and I'll be back in a few minutes.
Okay. And we're back. Okay. Anything else, Alex?
Yeah. What I was going to say was, I guess for starters, I was starting to say I was surprised about the Enchant World thing. But okay, I guess maybe they decided it was fun and they want to bring it back in somehow. Weird timing a little bit with Arboria and the whole like Lost Legends, because
yeah,
I didn't look since they announced Arboria if that's in the list of cards or not in the list of cards that will be included.
I don't remember.
You should check that out. That's actually important. Slow down time. Lost Legends. Also, it's an uncommon in Legends too. So, I know we talked about how the Lost Legends things is not, probably going to be like a big deal for supply, but for for an unlimited card, like there could be a fair amount more of these coming back into circulation. And they're going to be reprinting it right around the same time. So it sort of seems like they're like pushing the card a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah. I like this card though, from a playability perspective. Like I said, I would like to build a deck around it.
Oh yeah, it's certainly I'm glad it's back. It's fun. It's cool. I'm wondering also, I know we've talked about the Lost Legends thing. If they have Legends, I feel like we know that means they have Revised and Fallen Empires in warehouses. You know what I mean?
Bring back the Thralls.
We've talked a little bit about, there have been some posts about like Wizards employees getting revised starter decks as like, Christmas gifts or bonuses or something like that. So, they have some of this stuff. The question is how much, and how much do they want to release, in like retail products. But, I think, Arabian Nights and Antiquities probably not, like they're sold, but moving forward into, the sets past Legends, like it's possible that we'll see some of this stuff again.
They could bring back the dual lands that way. They could be like, we're not
exactly.
We're not breaking our promise.
It'll like let a little steam out of the, like boiler that is the, demand for dual lands. Not much probably, but it's a thing to do, and it'll certainly drive sales of whatever set that would be if they are including revised cards in it,
We're maintaining the reserve list. We just happen to have several 100,000 boxes of revised boosters. in a warehouse that we're going to open. We're not going to
And
reprint.
all they have to do is mention
them
it, and people will go nuts. People won't realize how hard it will be to get a dual land as the rare out of you know what I mean, like that. But they will still go nuts and try to get them. Well, I don't know. How much Fallen Empires do you think they have?
Oh my god! I mean,
Like, if they had a lost palette of legends, then my god, they could have lost whole buildings full of Fallen Empires, right?
I mean, how much Fallen Empires must just be like sitting around the country? I don't.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
only
know.
recently started to go back up and go up in. I shouldn't say back, go up in price. So there's probably plenty of people that just have it in the back of their mind, just think it's trash still, and aren't even aware.
I think it is trash.
It is.
Still,
It is
yeah,
trash.
it's really not
Only
fun
has
to
had
play.
a minor,
Yeah,
value bump just for nostalgia and goofy fun.
I mean, I look back on some of those old sets and I'm like, okay, Ice Age was a bit of a disappointment at the time, but it did have some things that held up. And now, especially in a world where the dual lands are so expensive, the pain lands seem fantastic to me. Didn't want to play them back then. But, even other things, Brainstorm became huge, common from Ice Age.
It has some stuff in it, at least.
Jokal Hops is pretty fun to play, and it's making a comeback.
As a set,
Necropotence
was, I'm trying to think of the best way to say this, but it was like a playable section of cards that a lot of people used
definitely
for a while. It was out for a while, and it was maybe just about all that was available for a while, other than the core set, 4th edition or whatever at the time. And so people found a way to have fun with Ice Age. If there wasn't stuff right alongside it that was outclassing it, it was fine as a set with it had themes and mechanics. A lot of it was kind of weak, and
it just seemed bad in comparison to the things that we could not get our hands on when we were 13 or 14.
There's a lot of bad cards in it because it's such a big set. There's a lot of junk, but there's some okay stuff.
Yeah, and
flavor of it.
I brought that up just to say that, like, looking back on Fallen Empires, I still think it's trash. Like, I can't find any value in Fallen Empires. There's nothing really I want to play in Fallen Empires. You mentioned Homelands too. It's funny. I actually ordered a Homelands card. It was the one.
3 cards.
It was the one you told me about, though. I can't even. Ison something. The white.
That white card. Yeah.
I like the fact that she gives +2/+2 to all. All soldiers.
You look up that card, and I'm gonna go get my dog again.
That's like 4.50 cents or something. And we'll take another pause. And we're back. Okay. I don't know how to pronounce this. Ison Crusader, Crusader. I said like 450 or something, but that was what I paid for 2 of them plus shipping. So it's like $1.62 market price right now. 2 colorless, 2 white. Ison Crusader, 2+ star, 2+ star. Crusader has power and toughness equal to 2+ the number of heroes you control. And you told me with an errata, or with the Oracle, the current wording of the card, heroes are also soldiers, right? Something along those lines.
So it's a while since I explained it, but I didn't know you were going to talk about it today. But yeah, let's pull it up. I'll pull it up on Gather real fast. Oh, there you
go. Ison Crusader. And I was looking at this in my Joderon Outpost.
Soldiers and warriors. Okay.
White mini decks. It says heroes too.
The thing is, the way.
Never mind. I was trying to think of, in pre-modern, there's a whole like white deck archetype built around some type of white creature, and I was going to say, are they heroes? But they might be rebels. They're rebels now that I think about it. There are rebel cards. Counts the number of permanents you control that are soldiers and or warriors. So yeah, I mean, there are more than one thing in white that creates tiny little soldier tokens. So,
and warriors is significant now too, because in like the newer sets, anything that's a human, they make it a like D&D style class like that, is my understanding. So everything is either like, if it doesn't have some special type of its own and it's a human, it will be a warrior, a rogue, a cleric, a mage, something like that. I think that's how that works. So
wasn't
it's a lot of
Crusade
creatures, a lot of
wasn't
different things.
Crusade one of the cards that was Crusade one of the cards that Wizards decided they didn't want to like reprint?
Yeah.
But the Crusader's fine to have.
With a cross on the shield.
Yeah. When somebody's gonna watch this episode, they're gonna be like, "Oh man, we fucked up." They're gonna have to take this off Gather It pretty soon. Has good art.
Yeah, it's not bad looking.
Nene Thomas. I see a lot of cards that I like. I'm like, oh, who's responsible for this art? I recognize this name, Nene Thomas. I see her on a lot of cards that I like. Anyways, so is that the end of the news? Any more news, Alex?
I don't think so. As far as new, no, I don't think so.
No news. Okay. So mostly just Dominaria stuff, Legend stuff.
I think I just something that I feel crotchety about. This bringing back of the old border style, like we saw in that Arboria. I like this; it's cool. But I was thinking, like, I don't think they should be marketing that as a premium, like, treatment of the card. You know what I mean? Like, that's gonna be like, oh, look, it's a special rare old border. Like, no, that should just be, you should just fix it and make all the cards border again.
They've done this before. I don't know the sets, but there are things I've come across when I've been looking up cards, and I thought, oh, this is from an old border set. I could play it. Maybe I could play this in pre-modern or something. And then I look into it further, and I see that that's just like a special printing of it, and it was actually first printed in a more modern set. And for some reason, they have like these special printings of some of these cards where they put them in like an old border style frame,
almost as if they
I don't know if
recognize the old border is
it looks better. Is it like the Time Spiral or the Time Spiral Remastered? I don't know. I don't want to get into this right now, but we'll have to look into it. But I've come across this before where I see a card old border style. I think it was originally printed in an old border set, and it's not. So it's rare that they do this, I think, but it has been done before. I've stumbled across it in the past.
Well, anyways.
Okay.
What would you like to talk about next?
Well, I'll send a message to the CEO of Hasbro.
Well, I almost said this might be like a good tweet. You know what I mean? Like, love these old border cards, but don't market them as a premium.
If the old border is enough to put like a premium stamp on the card, like you said, that must be at least acknowledgement that the old border is better in some way.
Yeah.
So just make them all old border.
They'll be like, no, it's just because some people like nostalgia or something.
Yeah, they could say that. Maybe this is okay. We're just printing the cards, but then we print some of them where we try to market them to the old people who just want the old borders. This is how they sell new cards to old people.
Yeah.
Any MTG finance?
Yeah. Okay, so the card I mentioned, the hamster card that I couldn't remember is Minsk and Boo. That was the card I mentioned last week, and I couldn't remember the name of.
It's gone up
in price a little bit.
I hear a lot about Minsk and Boo.
Yeah, it's gone up a few dollars in price.
How do I spell Minsk? I would assume
MINSK.
Oh, okay. What's going? This is weird. I don't understand this chart where it goes from $45 to. Oh, this is the pre-sale price or something.
Yeah.
And then it went down to $2. What kind of pre-sale price is this? So pre-sale price of $49.50, and then it immediately within 2 months plummeted down to $2. Is this real?
Who knows? I mean, maybe that high price was like even before they could be sold or something. They were just like people putting them up at that, and it was like, I don't know. And they weren't. My point is, they weren't selling. They were putting them up like as soon as they could. And
when was this card first printed? I'm trying to find the original printing, and I can't even see where it would be because it goes from Commander's Legends to pre-release.
It's this recent Baldur's Gate set. Is my
understanding. This is really the first time this card was printed.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a hamster, not a squirrel.
No, that's a hamster.
Damn.
Or a gerbil. I don't know, whatever.
I mean, if it was a squirrel, it could go into my
There's
squirrel
different
deck.
arts. If you
But
look
I
at the
don't.
other art, the borderless art looks more like a hamster, and they have artwork of this like on the
Oh,
boxes and packs from the set.
borderless art, it looks like a sugar flyer.
Yeah, it's like flat, squashed hamster. I don't know the storyline behind this. These are apparently like D&D Forgotten Realms characters that people know about already or
Oh,
something.
okay.
So I don't know. See, who knows? I saw Griffin Canyon went up a little bit.
Oh, did it really? Am I gonna be rich?
Yeah, maybe Max. I still haven't grabbed mine.
I have one Griffin Canyon. I ordered a near mint. It did not arrive in near mint, but it was close enough that I didn't want to deal with sending it back.
What a travesty.
It looks down a little bit. It looks $9.75 market price. This is less than what I bought it for.
Oh, really?
I bought it somewhere in the teens.
I'm looking at the interest
TCG
page, and it says it's up from 9 to 13 on the interest page.
Okay.
I didn't double check any of these really against actual prices on TCG Player yet this week, but
I mean, again, still much lower than it was in 2019, 2020, where you could have got it $2, $3.
yeah,
Everything's like this went nuts in 2021. And now people will be like, oh, everything is at bargain basement prices because it's cheaper than it was in mid 2021. But they don't mention that it's still 5 times higher than it was at the end of 2019 or mid 2020.
Yeah. We already mentioned Rogov Carekeep. He's gone up. He's seen some action with this kobold stuff. Memory Jar is seeing some action. It's popped up in price.
That's disappointing because I had a memory jar in my shopping cart, and I took it out because I was like, I'm not going to be making any memory jar decks anytime soon. I was spending too much money, so I don't need this memory jar right now. But this is a reserve list card. It is an artifact. It is a very unique card. I think it's super cool. People do build decks around the memory jar. I could potentially see this just going up in price over the years. And I definitely don't want to spend $200 for it if I could get it now for like 40.
Yeah.
That's at least reasonable in my mind. And again, I'm obviously not running out to buy as many memory jars as I can, but it is something that I would like to pick up at least one copy of at this price. 5 colorless, tap, sacrifice memory jar. It's a weird card. Each player sets aside his or her hand face down and then draws 7 cards. At the end of turn, each player discards his or her hand and returns to his or her hand each card he or she set aside this way.
Yeah.
So you sacrifice the jar, you put your cards down, you get to draw 7. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to do whatever it is you can do with those 7 cards. And then you pitch them and you get your original hand back.
I mean, strictly as like a way to make your opponent mill 7 cards, it's you could have that in some kind of mill deck. I know that's not the main use of it, but it's like, it's doing that in addition to whatever else it's doing.
I don't know what else people do with this card yet. I haven't figured it out, but you see a card like this and some shenanigans can happen. And it kind of makes me want to get one until I figure out what it is I can do with it.
Well, you could play it with anything. If you have any deck that has an effect from drawing cards, you'll get to have that effect 7 times right then when you. That's my understanding, unless it only would happen once. But
I would think so.
And if you have the type of deck that just wants to get through lots of cards in your deck quickly or have lots of options, obviously it's good. Yeah, I don't know the main combos with it though from back in the day.
And I mean, you can tap and sacrifice it, right? It seems like you can do this at any time. So you could even use it to fish for like a counter to potentially save yourself in a really bad position if you needed to. I'm sure that's definitely not the main use of this card, but
no, but you could, or maybe it is, but yeah, you could to fill it, if you have 1 card in your hand, to fill it up with 7 so that you can get a counter spell for your opponent's turn, that could be crucial.
You could use it to try to get to the next 7 cards and hope there's a lightning bolt or a fire blast in there to finish your opponent off if you needed to. It could be like a break this glass in case of emergency type thing.
Well, I like that.
So do I.
That's why I said it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had my eye on one of these too. Again, weight, it dropped a lot. I mean, at its peak, it was $100. Now it's in the upper 40s market price, lower 40s market price. middle 40s market price. Let's say 40s. Higher than it was in 2019, 2020, but double.
People are talking about it with Underworld Dreams and with do you know the card? I'll probably pronounce this wrong. Megrim.
I don't even know what that is.
Megrim. It's from Stronghold, or maybe even earlier than that. I had one or two from my black discard deck before we quit playing.
I'd never heard of this card. Stronghold. Yeah, I didn't even pay attention to Stronghold.
Yeah, it was like one of the newest cards I got, I think, before we quit.
2 colorless, 1 black enchantment. Whenever any player discards a card, Megrim deals 2 damage to him or her. Okay. Jeez. Yeah. If you had an Underworld Dreams out and this out, and then you broke your memory jar, they're dead. They're dead just from that.
Card, we're off on a tangent now, but this card, I just, it obviously fits black with discard. Yeah. It's like the perfect casting cost to use with a Dark Ritual.
It's only 50 cents.
It works with Hypnotic Specters. It's a common, I think.
Is it really? Okay.
It might be uncommon, but it's...
There's a lot of, black discard in pre-modern. People never run this card.
Really?
I wonder why. What is it that I'm not seeing? Yeah, a lot of like Duress, Cabal Therapy. These are pre-modern cards.
But it's been reprinted a ton.
Oh, yeah. 10th edition, 7th edition, 8th edition, 9th edition. It's been like a staple.
Yeah.
Damn. Pretty interesting.
Damn. Learn something new every day on Old Men Magic.
I'm going to make my Megrim Underworld Dreams memory jar deck that I can't play in any format that exists. It irritates me. I really wish
wait, why not? Because because of the memory jar. Because Underworld Dreams has been reprinted, and so is Megrim. So Megrim.
Well, no, the problem is I can't play it in pre-modern because Underworld Dreams is not legal in pre-modern, and I can't play it in Vintage because I just get fucked. Because I can't compete in Vintage with no power, no dual lands, no nothing.
Dictionary says Megrim.
Megrim. Give me the dictionary definition.
Depression, low spirits.
That's me. This is my card. That's it. Depression, low spirits.
It's a noun. That's the first definition. Second definition is a whim or fancy. Slightly different definitions.
Yeah, that's wild. This word means 2 completely different things.
There's also a word it shares roots with migraine and apparently has a vertigo or dizziness connotation as well. Magic cards are so cool. Lots of language.
Yeah.
Vocab words.
I got a good one, but I'm not going to bring it up today. I'm just going to bring it up in a future episode where I talk about pre-modern creatures for under $10. There's a good one, which also introduced me to a new word.
Well, tune in if you want a vocab lesson in upcoming episodes.
How did we get to Megrim? We were talking a memory jar.
Memory jar, yeah.
Memory jar.
We're talking about cards going up and down a little bit. Just a few things I noticed.
So memory jars, yeah, that's an interesting one. That's one I have my eye on. That's one I want to get a copy of, maybe a couple copies of, maybe 4 copies of. To be honest, I would like a playset.
For some reason, I wrote down. Must have been in a hurry. I didn't. Oh, yeah. By the way, Argivian Archaeologist has been a weird card. It has had a lot of like weird up and down action.
That's Rudy.
Someone apparently tried to do a buyout of it a while ago.
This is Rudy's pet card, and every once in a while he'll make a video about it, and he'll be like, "Oh, the archaeologist is moving or something."
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, "Okay, Rudy, what are you doing?"
You did mention that before. Yeah, I forgot Rudy.
One of his pet cards, he has like 5,000 copies of.
But for some reason I wrote down, I don't know which one of these categories on interest it was where I saw it, but Mishra's Factory.
Never heard of it. What's Mishra's Factory?
Never heard. Oh yeah, I saw it looked like 1 or 2 of the prices of the old one spiked a little bit, and I was curious, how many times it's been reprinted. So I looked it up, and I was just remarking that this is kind of a surprising card as far as like the old version holding so much value.
And what makes it even weirder is the winter art.
The winter art is
the degree
like so
to which that one
expensive.
holds so much more value than the others.
It's I might be speaking out of turn, but it's possible that the winter art was like a different degree of uncommon.
It is. I'm pretty sure because I'm looking. Can you see my screen right now? I am screen sharing. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, on TCG Player, it says it says summer and fall are rare and winter is uncommon. So that doesn't even make sense.
Oh, really? Okay. So, that does kind of make sense. Look at what I'm looking at MTG stocks. So some of the newer sets, they started indicating the rarity of the card with the color of the set icon.
Yeah.
And usually it's like the gold means rare, silver means uncommon, and then I can't remember what the commons are, but
Okay,
I'm looking at these three Mishra's factories. There's the three arts that aren't the winter, spring, summer, fall. All have a gold anvil, and then the winter one has a silver anvil. That would be wild. That would be wild if the winter was actually the least rare, but it's more than twice in price because people like the art that much more. It does definitely has the cool. It has the coolest art by far, but yeah.
Very interesting.
Also,
yeah, if you look at, I mean, there are versions of this card that are a couple cents.
I know I have the 4th edition ones, and I'm never gonna buy the originals because I'm totally fine with the 4th edition.
Even the 4th edition ones are worth almost nothing. Not that they should be really, but like this card's just like none of the versions of it are worth any money. But these antiquities ones are worth, at least 2 of them are worth a couple $100.
Yeah. Pretty wild.
And then obviously Mishra's Workshop, kind of have to bring it up just because we're talking about the factory, but it's like, its value is insane. It's like we always forget to mention that. We talk about the most valuable cards in Magic, your Power 9, your Tabernacle and your Candelabra and so on. But like, this is like a $4,000 card.
I never wanted to play Mishra's Workshop ever.
I always liked it, for an artifact deck, for a certain kind of deck. I wouldn't put it in all my decks, obviously, but
because I just never had an artifact heavy deck.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised that this has become a $3,000 card, to be honest. Just because it produces 3 quick mana, but people love that quick mana. I guess in a world where like City of Traders is almost $300, it's not surprising that Mishra's Workshop would be $3,000.
Yeah.
Considering the relative rarities of the two.
For some reason, it still seems to me like a card that a lot of people might not realize is worth that much,
I wouldn't have thought that this card
has gotten this value. It's been at least a few $100s for a long time, but like going back in the day, I mean, this was what, like a $30 card at one point.
Yeah, when we first started looking at cards again, several months ago, I was surprised by this. I was surprised by Tabernacle.
How much was that back in the day? I don't remember.
I don't remember either, but it was not one of the most expensive cards in Legends.
Oh,
I'm sorry. It might have been one of the most expensive cards in Legends. It wasn't one of the most expensive cards in Magic. Like now it's the price of a Mox.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, now that you say that, you're right. It might have been, I could see that have like, it might have been like a $90 card or something back in the day. Yeah.
And it's because of the new format, right? And it's because of a format that didn't exist. It's Commander has gotten so huge. I believe that's why people want Tabernacles, right? Everybody wants a Tabernacle for their Commander deck.
I don't know at all, actually.
All creatures now require an upkeep of 1 in addition to any other upkeep costs they may have. If the upkeep cost for a creature is not paid, the creature is destroyed. Now that I'm reading it, I don't know why I'm thinking it's Commander specific. Why do people want that?
I mean, it could be because it affects the multiplayer game. It's affecting all your opponents.
Yeah.
It's just a good card overall. I mean,
I just never thought about it. It was never something from Legends that I like really wanted. All creatures now require an upkeep cost of 1. Like, if I wanted to deal with people's creatures and I was playing Legends cards, I would just get an Abyss. I guess you have to play black then. Or I would get a moat with a little bit of creature removal and deal with most of their creatures with the moat. But then you have to play white. I don't know.
It's a land, it's free, you just plop it down.
Yeah. It was not a card that was really on my radar back in the day. Now, we talk about these earlier years on the MTG Stocks website, how we never know what degree we can trust the prices because some of them seem so bizarre when you go back to like 2013, 2014, 2015. If you look at the Tabernacle back there, yeah, it was $300 in 2013, 700.
I mean, that looks like real data because it
does
has
look
like this
real
steady,
data. Yeah.
You know.
So it was more expensive for longer than I realized. Back in 2013, it was already pushing $500. Man, that's
wild. Oh boy.
Wow, that was. Anything else catch your eye this week? I got 4 pre-modern legal cards that are making market moves.
Okay, tell me about it.
Okay. Pre-modern card number 1 that's making market moves. See if you've heard about any of these. Most of them are new to me. Mirari's Wake from Judgment. This is something that I want to play. I'm like, I look at this card. This is just, I mean, just put this in a standard like Urnam-Geddon style deck. This would just be fun to play. It's an enchantment, 3 colorless, 1 green, 1 white. Creatures you control get +1/+1. And then whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana to your mana pool of any type that land produced.
Yeah.
Pumps your creatures, and it's a personal mana flare. Right? White, you just Geddon, and then you put a card, and then you start playing your lands, and your lands ramp up again twice as fast as your opponents after the Geddon.
I mean, it's awesome in an Enchantress deck.
Plus, I just splash in some red so I could play my Jacques Levert. And then I got my Jacques Levert Mirari's Wake deck.
Yeah, I like this card.
I think it'd be fun to play in like a pre-modern style or a pre-modern legal Urnam-Geddon style deck. Because Urnam-Jin is legal and pre-modern too, because Chronicles or 4th edition, whichever one it was. People, nobody's impressed by Urnam-Jin these days any longer, but I still like it. I like this card. It has steadily risen in price from like 2017 to mid 2021, from $8 to $25, $26. And then for some reason in the last year, it's plummeted from 26 market average to 8. So
that's interesting.
Most things have dropped in this time period, but most things have not dropped to the same price they were, 5 years ago.
This didn't spike quite the same way either. It had more of a gradual.
It was steady. I like this.
Yeah.
I like that see things moving up steady. And it's odd to me that after a slow and steady rise like that over so many years, you just see it plummet.
Did it get a reprint?
What has happened to make people like not want to play this any longer?
Modern Horizons 2, I bet.
When did Modern Horizons 2 come out?
Recently. Last year.
Oh, okay.
Fall. And it's been like a high print run. It's been around consistently.
Okay.
You can still get it.
Oh yeah, I see 2021. Right down stamped down here. Okay then.
So yeah, that's your sorry, go ahead.
Now's when I go all in on Mirari's Wake, because you got a whole cohort of children coming in. They're playing this card. They're buying Modern Horizons 2. They're playing Mirari's Wake because it's a fun card to play. I'm sure it is, just based on what it does. 20 years from now, they're going to remember this card that they played when they were kids. They're going to be like, I want the original. They're going to need the Judgment one. And then I'm going to have 7,342 copies of it.
That's a lot.
I got a lot of time to accumulate 20 years before these kids get good jobs.
Okay, what's your next card?
I like this card, though. I want to play this card. Mirari's Wake.
Yeah, I like it too.
Pre-modern legal card number 2 that's making market moves. Cataclysm. A white card from Exodus. 2 colorless, 2 white, sorcery. Each player chooses from the permanents he or she controls an artifact, a creature, an enchantment, and a land, and sacrifices the rest. So, kind of like a balance.
Yeah, like a balance.
But also not like a balance, because balance, not everybody goes to 1 of each, right? You just go to whatever the lowest number of each is. Here, it just brings you down to 1. I already know what I'm going to play this in. I'm designing a deck called the White Whale. I wanted to build a white weenie deck when I was first starting to think about building decks again. And then for some reason, the last couple of weeks, it switched to like, okay, instead of building a white weenie deck, build a deck with like the biggest possible white creatures I can and try to think of like how to get them out as fast as I can while also slowing my opponent down enough to give me time to ramp up to get them out.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to be very good. So I'm calling it the White Whale because all my cards are huge, but then also because I'll probably never be able to get it to be competitive. So it'll be something I'll be chasing for the rest of my life. It'll be my white whale trying to perfect this deck that's probably never going to be competitive, but I'm going to keep trying anyways. This would be a cool card for that because everybody has to like whittle down to 1 creature.
Yeah,
my creature is going to be bigger than your creature, buddy.
Right,
just gonna be. So, I like this card. It has had a couple ups and downs over the years, but it's been pretty flat since 2016 to 2021. $5 card. 2021 tripled in price like everything else. Now it's on its way back down to its steady state price. It's about $760 right now. So if you would like to pick up a Cataclysm from Exodus, now does not seem like a terrible time. Pre-modern card that's making market moves, number 3. Mind over matter. Another Exodus card.
Oh yeah, I know this card.
Enchantment, 2 colorless, 4 blue. So you kind of got to play this mono blue. Choose and discard a card. Tap or untap target artifact, creature, or land. So this would be pretty fun. Discard deck. Screwing with your opponent's stuff. Tapping, untapping. Turning sideways, turn upside down. Whichever direction you want to turn it in. They can't stop you as long as you have a card to discard.
It helps you build up your graveyard easily.
Helps you build up your graveyard. That's the other thing. I'm going to tap all your shit and then trample you with my Tog. That's my Psychotog.
Yeah, no, I like this card. It was expensive for a minute, and now it's getting reasonable again. So
still expensive, but yeah, like 2018 to 2020, it was a $35 to $15 card. It's kind of hard to base anything on the 2020 low prices because that was in the depths of the COVID crash for everything. But let's call it like a $20 card for years. And then it spiked up to what, $90, $80, $90. Now it's making its way back down to $40. So you could pick up a Mind Over Matter from Exodus right now for $40.
I've seen them in a few shops in the cases, and it kind of strikes me that it's a card that's like probably it'll probably sit in people's inventory a little bit. It's a little bit specific. It might not sell, so that could
I think it'll probably come down some more, but if you wanted to start building a position in Mind Over Matter, it is a reserve list card. Now's not a terrible time to buy a copy.
All right, good point. Good call out.
Pre-modern card number 4. This decreasing in price. Tombstone Stairwell.
Oh,
I don't know. I look at this card because I started by focusing on Mirage when I was looking at cards again because I knew Mirage mostly. I wanted to see what cards from Mirage that I remembered from back in the day people have been actually playing with over the past 20 years. Which cards have gone up in price, which cards have gone down in price. There are a few surprises to me when I started looking at these things. Tombstone Stairwell was one of the more expensive cards in Mirage, at least when I started looking. That probably still is, probably in the top 20 or something. But I didn't remember it. But Tombstone Stairwell is 2 colorless, 2 black, and Enchant World, Alex. This is another thing that I thought about when I'm like, they're never going to reprint Enchant Worlds. This is a reserve list Enchant World. I should put all of my cash into Tombstone Stairwell. Cumulative upkeep of 1 colorless, 1 black. During each upkeep, each player puts into play a tomb spawn token for each summoned card in his or her graveyard. Treat these tokens as 2/2 black creatures that are unaffected by summoning sickness and count as zombies. At end of any turn, or if Tombstone Stairwell leaves play, bury all these tokens. So you're probably not going to be able to keep this thing into play for super long because it has a cumulative upkeep.
2 or 3 turns.
And cumulative upkeeps are terrible. But I guess the idea is to play it when you have enough summon cards in your graveyard to just kill them that turn with your zombie tokens that don't have summoning sickness.
Yep.
So a game ender, essentially, if you played at the right time. Steady rise in price from 2018 to 2021. A strange spike. This has to be some sort of weird buyout activity when in a month it goes from like 17 to 45 bucks.
It's a reserved list.
Yeah. And now it's coming back down to the upper teens. So
I think this card has been like, I think it's seen play like pretty steadily over the years. I'm not sure.
I mean, I think zombies get bigger and bigger. I've actually seen zombie decks in pre-modern. It's like, how many zombie decks were there back in the day when we played? There weren't really zombie decks. What would you put in your zombie deck? The Walking Dead from Legends. And then what? I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, you had the zombie master, and that was like basically it.
I forgot about the zombie master, but now I'm remembering the zombie master. But yeah, there wasn't much. But over the years, some more zombies have been printed. People play zombie decks. The thing I like about this is it doesn't have to be limited to a zombie deck. I mean, it has the zombie flavor, but like I said, you could just
play. Yeah, you don't need this you don't have to play this in the zombie deck at all.
You just play it to finish the game.
Has a bunch of.
It also may have been illustrated by somebody named Dom ! Is that what I'm seeing here? Oh. Is that what that says?
No.
Dom !
Yeah, I think I've seen that before.
Okay. Good job, Dom. So those were the market moves that I saw.
Nice. I missed out on something this week big time, and I'm very sad.
Oh, son of a bitch.
I've been watching that WotC for so long. And it looks like this week, the other day, someone bought like in the past couple of days, someone bought like 6 copies of it.
That's fucked.
All the ones that were like 89 or 90 bucks. And yeah, MTG Seattle had 3 of them up, and I was like, okay, that's good. No one's gonna buy, like they'll be sitting there for a minute, so I can wait a minute at least, and then so.
You disappeared.
So back to the drawing board for waiting for a WotC to pop up.
What did you say? You broke up. You broke up for a second.
Yeah. I saw the MTG Seattle was one of the vendors, and they had 3 of them. So I was kind of like, oh, they'll have there'll at least be 1 or 2 sitting here for a while. But then someone bought them, and I'm back to the drawing board. I'm waiting for my WotC purchase. Nuts.
If anybody's listening, they want to give Alex a deal on a WotC, contact the podcast at oldmenmagic@gmail.com. How many WotCs do you want, Alex?
Oh man, it'd be nice to have 4, but
playset.
I'd be happy with 2.
Alex is in the market for a playset of WotCs.
Uh-oh. My battery's running low, and my dog is barking.
My battery's running low too. I just realized my computer's not plugged in, so I'm just plugging it in.
Technology.
Okay.
Oh, no, that's yours.
I'm sharing my screen.
Oh, come on.
That was even more old man confused by technology than I thought.
I know, that was even worse than that. What else? Do you have something else on your list for us?
Well, that's the end of my MTG Finance segment, but I do have another segment where I'd like to talk about and my special topic of the week.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Do you have a special topic of the week, or do you want me to just go into
No.
it?
You go ahead and talk about this.
Okay, my special topic of the week is the Phyrexian Dreadnought.
Phyrexian Dreadnought.
And this ties into what I was saying about the Tombstone Stairwell. You know, when I first got back into Magic a few months ago, I started with one of the last sets that I really was paying attention to as a teenager was Mirage. And I started by looking into the Mirage cards, what the prices were for these Mirage cards, how attainable they were for me at the moment. Anything that's gone up in price, down in price, what was affordable. I noticed there were a couple, like the two most expensive cards. I'll say this, the two most expensive cards in Mirage I was surprised by. I don't know necessarily what I thought they would be, but I was surprised to see that both Lion's Eye Diamond and Phyrexian Dreadnought were so expensive.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, Alex, what did we do with Phyrexian Dreadnought?
We threw them at people.
We threw them at people. I never threw them at anybody. I did have one I pulled out of a pack, and I still have it, and it's near mint. So I don't think I ever threw it at anybody.
No, I never threw them. I never had one.
But we looked at this card, one colorless, which is amazing. When we looked at this, you pull this card out of a pack as a teenager, like, Jesus Christ, this is crazy. But then also, what do you do with it?
Timmy Town,
one colorless, 12/12 trample. When Phyrexian Dreadnought comes into play, sacrifice any number of creatures with total power of 12 or more, or bury Phyrexian Dreadnought. So at the time this was printed, I think it was the biggest creature ever printed. And also at the time it was printed, I don't know, I wasn't a very sophisticated player at the time, so maybe there were like clever ways to get this out, but I don't think there was a clever way to get this out. I think if you wanted to get this out, you just had to sacrifice like your 3 Sarah Angels to trample somebody with your Dreadnought.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the best you could do was like figure out a way
Pump a Shivan or something,
and then like animate dead or something, you know.
That's true. You could always animate.
But does that hold? Okay, so now I'm.
No, you would, because I don't know how animate dead works. It would depend. When you animate dead, are you bringing it into play?
It says comes into play.
Yeah.
So that might not even work. Well,
so back in the day, if you're a teenager playing Magic the Gathering, you see this card, you think it's badass because it says 12/12 and has cool art, but you don't know what to do with it, and you probably don't play with it. Or if you do play with it, it doesn't do very well for you. So I was surprised to see that, you know, they were like $100. The price has since dropped a little bit. As I've said multiple times over the last few months, the price of everything has dropped a little bit. But still, if you wanted to get a near mint Dreadnought now, it's probably going to be like $70.
Mm-hmm.
I looked this up on TCG Player. Somebody with 0 sales is trying to sell one right now for $70, $2.99 shipping. The next cheapest one is $80. So $80-$90 really to get a near mint Dreadnought. And I'm like, why? What do people do with this? Well, since Mirage, lots of things have been printed that help you combo out your Dreadnought. So I was looking into the different decks people build around the Dreadnought. The most popular one is called the Stifle Knot deck. And I guess you could have run a deck like this when Visions was printed. So I paid attention to Visions too. Visions had the one of the charms, Vision Charm, that would help you get your Dreadnought out. So I looked up some deck lists for Stifle Knot decks on tcdex.net, which is a good place to look up pre-modern deck lists. They have lots of other stuff too, vintage, old school, legacy, modern. Pretty much just been thinking about the pre-modern. But people that have been playing in different pre-modern tournaments where the deck lists are published, they publish their deck lists on TC Decks. You can see how they build decks around the different cards. So this is a Stifle Knot deck, runs 4 Dreadnoughts, a bunch of mana efficient red and blue spells. This is a red-blue deck. So a bunch of different counter spells. I don't remember when Mana Leak was printed. Have you seen Mana Leak, Alex? I think it was originally a Stronghold card. 1 colorless, 1 blue, instant, counter target spell unless its controller plays 3 colorless.
I like that because I always like power sync, so I have no problem with that. You know, a lot of the time when you're trying to counter, they're tapped out or mostly tapped out anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mana Leak is awesome. So it's just 1 blue instead of 2 blue. So it's great for multicolored decks. And most of the time, when somebody plays a spell, they're not going to have 3 open mana sitting around. You know, if it just another counter this guy runs that is also pretty popular. I don't know what the hell printing of this card this is, but I hate this art. Days. So this is another counter that I see a lot, pre-modern. Days. You may return an island you control to its owner's hand rather than play Days' mana cost, so you don't actually have to pay mana cost. But this counters target spell unless its controller plays 1 colorless addition. A lot of the times, you know, you got to play this at the right time. A lot of times people are going to have 1 colorless hanging around, but most of the time they're not going to be having 3 colorless hanging around. This guy does play 4 Days though, and just 1 Mana Leak. So I would do the other way around, but I don't know anything. I'm also not a competitive Magic player, so there might be a reason he's doing this.
Days was in Nemesis first.
Okay. Multiple counters. Mana Leak. Days. What else?
I see Opt in there. Okay. That's
Foil. Instant. 2 colorless, 2 red. I mean 2 blue. You may discard an island card and another card rather than play this spell's mana cost. So you don't actually have to pay the cost. Could discard counter target spell. So lots of counters. Lots of mana efficient cards, either low casting cost or they have alternative cost. You can pay discard instead of actually paying the mana. This is a card that I've seen run with Dreadnought before. And this is a new card to me. Fling. 1 colorless, 1 red. Instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature. So you cast a spell, you sack a creature, and Fling deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to any target. So the idea is you attack with the Dreadnought, trample them, fling it at them. They're dead. 1 attack. Low casting costs. They got some card draw in here. Gush, draw 2 cards. Opt, scry 1, draw 1. And then they have red burn spell. Impulse, look at the top 4 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand, the rest of them. So this was in Visions, I think. I remember Impulse. Low casting cost cards, counters, card draw, and blue, and then red, just direct damage, lightning bolt, flinging your Dreadnought at them. And then the key cards with the Dreadnought are Stifle and Vision Charm. So this is how my 13-year-old C was wondering how the hell you get Dreadnought out. This is how you get Dreadnought out. Vision Charm, 1 blue, instant, choose 1, target artifact phases out, or put the top 4 cards from the target player's library into his or her graveyard, or all lands, blah, blah, blah. You could do 3 different things with this. The important thing is, for the Dreadnought, is the first effect. Target artifact phases out. There's this whole weird thing with phasing, where like you can phase a card out and it's not really there to have its effect. So, but it also doesn't leave the battlefield.
Right. I saw that in the Dreadnought rulings. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's weird personally, but
I think it's weird too. I don't totally love it, but it's the rules. Them's the rules. You play your Dreadnought. It comes into play. To get out of sacrificing your creatures, you phase it out. So you don't have to pay the negative cost. When it phases back in, it's not coming back into play because it never technically left the battlefield. I don't totally understand the rule. I just know that it works.
I mean, doesn't it have
judges
to
tell me that it works?
Play at some point?
You would think.
like all you would be doing is delaying when it comes into play.
I don't totally love the way this works, but this is what people do. They play Phyrexian Dreadnought with Vision Charms, and the arbiters of Magic the Gathering rules have decided that it works. It is strange to me that you could phase it out.
Plus that
and say that when it phases back in, it doesn't technically enter play again because it never left the battlefield.
Yeah,
but if it was in play to begin with, it had to enter play at some point.
Yeah.
The idea that you could phase it out to not have to sacrifice the creatures.
How can you target it if it's not in play?
It doesn't totally jive with me.
And
But
also, I feel like that relies on the card. Like, so you cast the card, it is successfully cast, and then somehow, like in between it being successfully cast and coming into play, you're casting a spell. And I feel like that shouldn't be like, you shouldn't have like an opportunity in there to do anything. It's like once it's cast.
I believe this is why this works, and it has something to do with the rules of the stack, the order of operations for the spells, and the fact that Vision Charm is an instant.
Yeah.
So you were saying you shouldn't have an opportunity to do these things. I think because Vision Charm is an instant, you can sneak this in.
Apparently you get priority then at some point.
You can sneak this in between the point of the Phyrexian Dreadnought being played and the sacrifice a creature downside coming into play. This is how I believe it works. It's strange to me. This is why, even though I was around for Visions, I never really saw this Vision Charm and thought, oh, I can use this to get around the Phyrexian Dreadnought downside. I don't know how long it was before people started putting these cards together. Somebody probably did it right away. But it wouldn't have been that obvious to me. Even now, looking at the two cards next to one another, it wouldn't be that obvious to me that it definitely
works
think this way. Yeah. But apparently it does. The other thing you can combo the Dreadnought with, and this one is far more obvious, and this one I like a little bit more because it doesn't revolve around technicalities, is, and somebody might be yelling at me saying it's not the technicality, this is the way the stack works, blah, blah, blah.
Oh.
You just don't understand the rules. That is true. The other one is Stifle. 1 blue instant, counter target activated or triggered ability. So this is a triggered ability. On Phyrexian Dreadnought, although ability is a strange word for it, a triggered effect. Phyrexian Dreadnought enters the play, you have to sacrifice the creatures. You play Dreadnought, you stifle that triggered effect, and then you don't have to sacrifice the creatures. And then you got your Dreadnought in. So this is the most common way to play Dreadnought. This is the basis of the Stifle Knot deck. That was one Stifle Knot deck.
I mean, your comment also, I mean, that raises questions too. I mean, it seems more, I don't know if how they differentiate between abilities versus effects at this point, but yeah, okay, see, I remember reading this before. When an activated ability has cost : effect format, a triggered ability starts with when, whenever, or at.
Say that again.
An activated ability has a cost : effect format.
Okay, so this is not an activated ability because it doesn't have a
triggered
cost.
Ability starts with when, whenever, or at.
Okay, so this is a triggered ability because it says when Phyrexian Dreadnought comes into
ability to me. It seems like
I know that's what I said. The word ability is a strange way to put this. But again, the judges of Magic the Gathering have decided that this is an okay thing to do. People have been running these decks for 20 fucking years. Or whenever Stifle was printed. Don't remember when Stifle was printed.
Looks like
Scourge. Yeah. This is a mono blue variant of the Stifle Knot. Again, you just got a lot of counters, low casting cost counters, or counters you can pitch cards for. A lot of card draw.
And it uses a lot of blue cards that are only
a lot of scry abilities.
Oh, wait, never mind, sorry.
And then you got your Stifles and your Vision Charms. What were you gonna say, Alex?
Oh, nothing. I was still talking about the last deck. I was gonna just mention that it has a lot of blue cards that are only 1 blue casting cost, but this is a more blue heavy deck.
This is a this is a mono blue.
Okay.
Mono blue Stifle Knot. I like the red blue personally. I like the burn.
Fling. I mean, that fling is like
the burn option. Yeah, and the fling's awesome.
When you have that and you have like low cost counter spells, it's kind of hard for your opponent to do much.
I don't know why this guy runs 10 snow-covered islands. Is it just because he likes snow-covered islands? Is there a reason to run snow-covered islands here?
I would say 2 things. One, like, because they don't count as... Do they count as basic lands? Now I can't remember.
I don't know, but there are definitely cards that, like, can affect snow-covered lands specifically.
Right, I know specifically snow-covered. So I don't know if snow-covered lands can help you get around something else, but I feel like they probably are doing one of their cards affect snow-covered lands in there probably.
He doesn't run any cards in here that like are synergistic with snow-covered lands. Not that I see. So he's really only opening himself up to downsides if people are playing cards that target snow-covered lands. So I don't know. Could just be that he likes the art.
Huh. Yeah, maybe.
What are some of the other options? Here's a blue-white Stifle Knot. This is more of like a blue-white control deck, but with Enlightened Tutor to tutor for your knot, and then to just get it out the same way as in all the other decks. Stifle or Stifle for Vision Charm. I was going to talk about Meddling Mage later in an episode of pre-modern creatures for under $10. Do you know Meddling Mage? You know?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Meddling Mage. I love Meddling Mage.
Very good.
I learned about it like a month ago. I was like, this is an awesome card. So what have we seen? We've seen blue-red variants, mono blue, blue-white control variants. I came across the Esper Stifle Knot. And I was like, what the hell is Esper?
Ooh, Limdol's Vault. I like Limdol's Vault.
Limdol's Vault. I've heard multiple people. I've been listening to different podcasts. I found some more pre-modern focused / old school focused podcasts last week. One of them is specifically about pre-modern, and it's called the Pre-Modcast, and it's pretty darn good so far. Some of these podcasts, I've heard a couple people now just talk about Limdol's Vault. And actually, I heard somebody talk about Limdol's Vault on the Command Zone, maybe like a week or two ago. Cards that they were talking about, like cards that annoyed them the most or something along those lines. Anyway, everybody that's mentioned Limdol's Vault has talked about how they were playing Limdol's Vault, and then they realized, very quickly, they came up with a list of reasons why they shouldn't be playing Limdol's Vault any longer. But this guy, he runs Limdol's Vault, and Esper Stifle Knot. I don't know if you knew what Esper meant. I didn't know what the hell Esper referred to. But Esper is one of the 5 shards of Alara, primarily blue aligned with white and black as secondary colors. So I would see Esper in front of like some modern decks. I'm like, what is Esper? It just means blue, white, black.
Oh.
I've been seeing some other words in front of deck names too that I also don't know what the hell they mean, and I'm wondering if those are some of the other four, one of the other 4 of the 5 shards of Alara. So these words that I'm seeing might just be like color trios.
I see. Yeah, Limdol's Vault. I always thought it was like cool, and I wanted, it's a I like that it's blue black, and I wanted to use it in something. But when I read it, I'm also kind of like you said, it's. I'm not sure if I had an issue with it being like comparing it to other cards, or if I was just kind of like, I'm not sure if this like nets me if I end up with an overall gain from the card. Like I want it to be good.
Yeah. So I don't know what I said something. This was probably before we started even recording this podcast. We were just talking on the phone, and I was like, sometimes I don't want to play too many cards that require me to always make the right decision.
Yeah.
I want to limit the number of decisions that I have to make.
Yeah.
And Limdol's Vault seems like one of the cards that I could play and often make the wrong decision. And also might be hard to tell, like in the moment, whether I'm actually making the right or the wrong decision. Even if I took a lot of time to focus on it, think about it. Is it, like you said, is this going to give you a net benefit? How often, how many times you play this is actually going to give you a net benefit? You could.
And I think like Impulse maybe might have been one of the cards I was comparing it to, because there's Brainstorm, like there's some cards there. You're already playing blue where you have some options like this.
Yep.
Or if you compare it to Sylvan Library and green, you know what I mean? Now playing Commander, we have a bigger life pool. Paying that 1 life is obviously less significant. So
and playing Commander where you have Commander, I don't play Commander, but that is a rule set where you could just play 1 of each card, right? You can't play.
Yeah. So you might want it for that. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a way to make it work. It's cool. It's a cool
I think the
card.
person on the command zone decided he didn't like it because it's like you play Limdo's Vault and then you spend the next 10 minutes either like sitting there trying to think about what the best thing to do is, or if your opponent's playing it, you'd sit there for the next 10 minutes while they think about how to play Limdo's Vault. It's like, what are we doing? And then
cards don't go to your graveyard. That's nice that you keep them in the deck.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a benefit. Depending on what kind of deck you're playing. Actually, you're playing blue-black, you might want them to go to your graveyard most of the time.
For the reanimation.
And they don't actually. It is a reserve list card. Maybe it'll go up in price. I don't know, just because.
I have a few of them.
Oh, look at you, Mr. Big Shot. I got 0.
I had 1 or 2 from back in the day, and I think I bought like 1 or 2 super cheap.
It's your retirement. They're not that expensive. I almost bought some, but then I was like, gotta limit my binds. What am I going to do with Limdo's Vault right now? Probably nothing. But now I could put him in a blue white black Esper Stifle Knot deck.
That's true.
First, I need 3 Stifle Knots. I mean 3 Phyrexian Dreadnoughts. So Limdo's Vault, again, you got the Dreadnought, you got the Stifle, you got the Vision Charm, you have card draw, you have counter. The one difference here, the difference between this deck and the other decks we've seen so far is the addition of the Limdo's Vault. It's just a different card draw spell, essentially. Card sorting spell.
He's playing with the other deck, Winter Orb in the sideboard, and this guy is playing it standard.
Yeah. I like the Enlightened Tutors too. I like the addition of the white for the Enlightened Tutors to get your Dreadnought.
What's Seal of Cleansing?
Sacrifice Seal of Cleansing, destroy target artifact or enchantment. It's an enchantment. Okay. So it sits there until you want to sacrifice it to destroy.
Disenchant.
Yeah. Why the Winter Orb in these Stifle Knot decks? Maybe it's just because they're built. We've seen so far that I've talked specifically about how the cards people are running are all low casting cost. Yeah. I mean, pretty much everything we're seeing.
Dreadnought is only one casting cost.
Is only one casting cost. Pretty much everything we're seeing in these decks, whether they're red direct damage, blue counters, the creature, or the cards that they use to get around that creature's triggered ability. Did we decide it was a triggered ability? Or an activated ability?
I forgot already.
Triggered ability, I think. When?
Yeah, it sounds right.
All these cards, they're 1 to 2 mana. So actually, that seems like a pretty obvious reason for why they run the orb sometimes. Yeah. If all your cards just cost 1 mana to cast and you just only get to untap 1 mana, then that sounds pretty good. You're chilling. Oh, the other addition here is the black discard. Card discard, Duress. 1 black sorcery, target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-creature, non-land card from it. That player discards that card.
That's good.
Yeah.
When was that first printed?
I bought some of these recently because I saw them in a ton of pre-modern decks, and it's a common, I think, from Urza's Saga.
Oh, okay.
One of the Urza sets.
Urza's Saga and 7th edition.
Look at me learning.
Yeah, I like that card. It's great for getting rid of counter spells.
Yep, that's what people use it for all the time in these black discard decks. That's your form of disruption. I mean, you don't have counter.
Yeah.
But if you just force them to pitch the counters, and then you get to do whatever you want to do. Because
plus, you get to look at their hands. So I mean, for 1 black, like why not?
Yeah. Stifle Knot's the most common. We've seen a few different variants of Stifle Knot. The other one that I came across the other day was pretty cool. They use a card Pandemonium that they combo with Dreadnought. Let me pull some of these up. Some of the deck names: Dead Panda Roberts. I've been coming up with deck names too. Everybody has deck names now. I gotta perfect my white whale. I gotta make that famous. I gotta get that deck name printed. I came up with another cool deck name the other day. I was thinking about goblins and I don't like playing goblins, and then I thought of this name, and then now I want to play a goblin deck. I want to play I want to play a goblin zombie deck. I don't even know if that exists.
No, it does. I have a card for it,
Oh
actually.
my god, okay. This is what I'm gonna call it. Gabagools. Because everybody's saying gobbo all the time for goblins. It's like slang for goblins, gobbo decks.
Oh, is it?
Gabagoo.
Gabagoo.
I've been laughing about that.
You don't have that
for like 5 days. Nobody better play the Gabagoo deck.
I can't remember what it's called.
I should edit this out of the podcast, or somebody's gonna take that idea.
Yeah. I'll find it for next time. But you'll like it for this deck.
Gabagoo. Where are the deck lists? I might not have deck lists for
here it is.
This one I'm looking at.
Sorry, it's an enchantment I'm thinking of. Dralnu's Crusade.
Dralnu's Crusade. How do I spell that?
Dralnu.
Wow.
From Portal.
This is going to be the linchpin of my Gabagoo deck.
It's from freaking
Oh wait, Portal?
It has a Portal symbol, but it's not Portal.
Can I play it? Can I play it in pre-modern?
Right.
Oh, I can play Plane Shift. Alex, can you still see my screen?
Yeah. Okay. Oh no, I'm just looking at you now.
Okay. I thought I accidentally hit something that I didn't mean to hit. What about now? Can you see it again?
Yeah, now I can see it.
Okay. Dralnu's Crusade.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my god, Gabagoo. I'm gonna be like Carm, where's my Gabagoo? Dralnu's Crusade. One colorless, one black, one red. Enchantment. All goblins get +1/+1 are black, and are zombies in addition. This is fucking awesome.
Isn't that great?
I've never in my life been excited to play a zombie deck. I've actually complained about, Goblin deck. I've actually complained about Goblin decks. I'm like, what kind of unsophisticated Momo plays? I don't even know what Momo is. I don't know if I should say that or not. I don't know what it means. Plays goblins. That's child's play. You got to be like I don't know.
Low ranking Timmy.
Yeah, there's just a low IQ Timmy. Yeah, goblins are for. I don't want to say bad things about people in goblins, especially now because I'm all psyched about a fucking goblin deck. Dralnu's Crusade, enchantment. How much does it cost? Oh shit, $1.
No.
I'm gonna buy.
I bought one.
I'm gonna buy all of them. I'm gonna buy all the Dralnu's Crusade. I'm gonna make Gabagoo famous. And I'm gonna get rich selling all my Dralnu's Crusade. I'm gonna sign the cards. People can get Dralnu's Crusades signed by the originator of the Gabagoo deck. Anyways, I got off topic.
Well, look at Mad Auntie, like Auntie. Mad Auntie.
Is this also Goblin Zombie related?
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is amazing. This is New Frame. Can't play this though. Lorwyn. I've heard people mention the Lorwyn set. Creature Goblin Shaman. Other goblins you control get +1/+1. Regenerate another target goblin. It doesn't say Goblin Zombie, but she sure looks like a zombie, doesn't she?
Yeah, right? Huh. Is it just in that set?
Yeah. That and Modern Masters.
Okay. Well, anyways.
So interesting. Can't go in my Gabagoo deck, but still interesting. Dralnu's Crusade. Now I gotta buy a bunch. Now I gotta buy a bunch of zombies. I gotta buy a bunch of goblins, Alex. What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
I have to buy angels.
I
gotta buy dreadnoughts and stifles. I have to buy painlands. I gotta buy wastelands. Now I gotta buy goblins. What did you say?
In Dominaria United, there's a legendary assassin. He's Ramses Assassin Lord.
Oh.
He gives your other assassins +1/+1.
Oh, I can make
and
Tetsuo too.
Whenever a player loses the game, if they were attacked this turn by an assassin you controlled, you win the game.
What?
So like you have to. I think it only matters
in multiplayer.
Yeah.
Is that what we're talking about? Okay.
Like if I attack you with an assassin and you die, then I win the game against all the other people. What?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
What?
That's what it sounds like to me. Yeah. Because otherwise, I'm thinking, of course, you win the game.
Yeah. Right.
Ramses Assassin Lord. There's no photo for it yet on MTG stocks. Oh, okay. Off topic. I got excited about Gabagool. The other Dreadnought, the other type of Dreadnought deck I saw. The original version that I saw was called. It had a name because again, everybody named it. Damn it! I stopped sharing my screen again. Here we go.
But it was with Pandemonium.
Yeah. Have you seen Pandemonium? I was not familiar with Pandemonium. Did you say yes or no?
Yes. And it allows you to do, because it comes into play, I guess, before it would be sacrificed or destroyed if you don't pay the upkeep. So you can still just bring it into play and then have it deal the damage.
Yeah. Right? So the version of this deck, of the original version, or at least the most famous version, called Dread Panda Roberts.
Okay.
It is black-red, it looks like. Yeah, black-red. Dreadnoughts, duress for discard, dark rituals because four demonic consultations. So this is also like a reanimate deck too, because it has 4 reanimates. Put target creature from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You lose life equal to its converted mana costs.
It makes sense because since you're destroying the Dreadnought basically to do its thing, you want to get it
that's
back.
right. Yeah, you don't need to keep it on the battlefield to attack with it.
You're just using it to do 12 damage.
You just need to Pandemonium it, and then you just bring it back with with reanimate, and it Pandemoniums again. Pandemonium, 3 colorless, 1 red enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, that creature's controller may have it deal damage equal to its power to target creature or player of his or her choice. So you got to get Pandemonium on the field. You play the Dreadnought. It comes into play. The moment it comes into play, you do the 12 damage.
Yeah.
And then you don't sacrifice any creatures to it, and you just bury it.
And then next turn you reanimate it. Or that turn, again, you reanimate it. You do the same thing.
It has Final Fortunes, 3 Final Fortunes. So you could just do this twice, end the game.
It's like a hard deck to counter. Like, it's so low casting cost, and the Pandemonium's a couple, but geez.
It is rough. I wonder how.
Pandemonium's 3 colorless, so you can use Dark Ritual on it.
Yeah. I wonder how this deck did. Obviously it did well because it's named, but I wonder if it's like a World Championship winning deck or anything. Because I'm thinking, how do you get rid of this deck, or how do you deal with this deck? You'd have to be playing if you're not playing Force of Will, you're going to be in trouble. So if you're in a format where you don't have Force of Will, I don't know how you deal with it. But also, like, this deck is not pre-modern legal. Vampiric Tutor's not legal in pre-modern. This runs 2 Vampiric Tutors. It runs 4 Demonic Consultations, which is another Ice Age card that I've seen has gone up in price.
That. And I think it's too much money for me to buy. Like,
I know, same.
But I'm like, they're $15 or some shit. I don't know.
This is true with so many of the reanimation cards. Reanimation has gone insane.
I know. It used to be like a 25-cent common or uncommon.
It's gone insane. All of the reanimation cards are expensive now. Demonic Consultation, 1 black instant. Name a card. Remove the top 6 cards of your library from the game. Reveal the next card to all players. If it is the card named, put it into your hand. If not, remove that card from the game and continue revealing the top card of your library and removing it from the game until the named card appears. I lost track halfway through. But yeah, you just use it to mill your deck until you get the card that you want, right?
Yeah, because you only need to have, you only really need to have like a reanimation and a Phyrexian Dreadnought in your hand to win the game. You got Pandemonium down, right? That's pretty sweet. I like that deck.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. 4 Necros. 4 Necros, 4 demonic consultations. Yeah, so you're gonna get what you need. You need to what?
Get some pain lands.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you do, Alex. That's what I've been doing. I've just been buying real estate. But yeah, those are the two types of decks I'm seeing people run with the Dreadnought. They get it in with the Stifle or the
Those are informative.
Division Charm. I like the Pandemonium style more probably because you don't have to play these dumb games with the rules and Vision Charm and Stifle. Some people might think that's a little more clever, but I'm like, I don't know.
Pandemonium's kind of stretching the rules a little bit. You know what I mean?
Do you think? I thought that was more straightforward.
I mean, I think it just depends on, obviously the way they ruled on it is the way that it is, but it's, I mean, you know, back in the day, maybe you could have I don't know, maybe made some argument that the creature never really comes into play. But I guess it does say, how is Dreadnought worded? I think it does say when it comes into play, doesn't it?
It does.
In terms of the battlefield. So that would make sense. It's
when Phyrexian Dreadnought comes into play.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so yeah, then it totally makes sense. It's
when it comes into play, you sacrifice the creatures or bury Dreadnought.
Yeah, so first it came into play and then you bury. Yeah.
And since it came into play, you can Pandemonium it. Since it came into play, you can flame. Anyways,
it's too stupid to know the rules.
Yeah, I am stupid. That's all I had for episode 4 of Old Man Magic, Alex.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else for tonight. I'm gonna go eat.
Okie dokie. Well,
for next week, I guess we'll continue to monitor the news and the dips.
I will follow the news. We will report the news to our 2 listeners, maybe 2 listeners. Maybe next week we'll have some sponsors. We need to get some sponsors.
Okay.
If anybody listened to this long and they would like to sponsor the show, reach out to us at oldmanmagic@gmail.com.
Looking forward to hearing some of these sponsors.
I'm interested in sponsors even who don't want to pay us any money. Like if you just want me to read an ad at the beginning of the show, I'd be more than happy to do so. Reach out to oldmanmagic@gmail.com. And then we'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Have a good one.
Okay, now I gotta stop recording.